Hello, everyone. What's going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back to the TNT podcast, episode
Not
the
200.
not 200 yet. That's what matters, baby.
Are we like what?
Yeah.
Is this 199?
198.
Are we this close? What are we at?
198.
Ooh,
So
Christ.
if we
So
do it every
close.
2 weeks, sometime in April, we should be able to get it done.
supposedly.
We're back, but who's back? On my left,
As always, it's Friedman, also known as Andrew, mostly known as Friedman.
and on my right.
Why? It's just Tyler, but why did you trip up on that?
Because I heard a pause, I started going, and then Tim finished his sentence. So the Discord lag is killing us tonight.
Sorry. Tyler, also known as married.
I am. I
We-
did.
We
It's
got him
Mr.
there,
Tyler to
everybody.
you.
We
Yeah,
made
I
sure
didn't
he
think
did
I'd
it.
make it this far. Honestly,
Oh,
there we
please
go.
stop. Okay, wow.
Please stop. Yo, you want? Yo, we're here. We're here. You
yes,
wanted to
we
talk
were
about
all
it.
there. Somehow we were
Yeah.
the only people on the dance floor.
Somehow, it's not shocking.
I don't know, Tyler. You made
Did you
fun.
not look at everybody else?
What about him?
Kind of
Do you not
people-
look at us?
Did you not look at
Yeah,
Do
him?
we look like dancers to you?
The kind of people, yeah, still, that's what I'm saying. You think the rest of these people were dancers? Look at me. Was I a dancer? Absolutely not.
Yeah, you chose to not, and that was sad.
Honestly, though, legitimately, I did try just to because I'm like, well, for my money's worth, I guess I will go out there and try. But we kept getting got by.
Well, I was gonna say you probably would have preferred to be dancing instead of hanging out with some of your some of the
Dude.
in-laws and stuff.
Fucking Christ, it's just. I'm like, wait, do they hear this? You know, it doesn't even matter. I don't care. I really everybody knows where
name
Michelle
names.
and I were trying to go. Yeah, I won't name names, but just know that there is clearly a side I wanted to be on, and a side that I did not want to be on. So, yeah. But it was fun. There was a donut wall.
Dude, between the the cocktail hour and the dessert section, the venue did a good job of setting everything up there. That was one of the most elaborate cocktail hours I've
Yeah,
seen.
the cocktail hour and dessert thing were hype.
Yeah. Oh, hey, trust me, I fucking know. Oh, I know.
Oh, I know what the ladies like.
You planned it this way.
Dude, it was really funny. I forgot who someone was like, "Oh, did you know? Did you know they had this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking chose it." I'm like,
You
"Yeah."
think any of this was a
course."
surprise?
Yeah, I've had multiple people "Oh, did you know they had this?" I'm like, "No. Get the fuck out. I had zero idea. I picked none of this. The fuck." You could probably guess it was some of my family. They were like, "Did you know?"
family.
Dude.
Dang.
But the best was just that private cocktail hour that Michelle and I had. That was God. I was ready to die at that table. They gave me I've
Wait,
never
so you guys
had.
got to just chill and eat? You weren't taking photos during the cocktail hour?
We did. It's more like instead of a cocktail hour, it was more of a cocktail quarter hour.
Gotcha.
We've really got 15, 20 minutes to ourselves. We took pictures right after, while you guys were downstairs, enjoying everything. We went and took more pictures. So it was nice. I look badass as fuck.
It's all
So it was
about the
kinda worth
pictures. It's all about the pictures.
Yeah, right. Man, it was so the food was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Hell
glad
yeah.
you guys had a great time. It was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
People got lit.
Yeah, it was a pretty good wedding.
It was pretty good, pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it
Pretty
was
good.
alright.
But there's plenty of other good. Well, okay. I almost jumped the
There's
gun.
plenty of other news.
We're looking at this list. And
I was gonna say there's plenty of other good news, but only really the next thing is any good. But there is cool news. EA, the company who I feel like has skated under the radar for a while in terms of not getting binged on bad news, actually did something pretty cool. He the Command and Conquer games have been unfortunately not lost to time.
They've just
but
been owned by EA.
They've just been owned by EA, and they tried to make it as a mobile thing. Generals 2 was a failure, which crushed my soul, and it was gone. EA seems to have realized that, and decided, oh, actually, well, we're not doing anything with Command and Conquer ever again, so we'll let the community do all the work. So, following up on back in 2000, not 2000, God, 2020, EA had released the source code for Command & Conquer Remastered Collection, which was Tiberian, Dawn, and Red Alert, the two of the first Command & Conquer games. They have now added more games to the list, including my probably favorite Command & Conquer game, Renegade, which is the FPS, which is pretty cool, Tiberium Wars and Kane's Wrath, Red Alert 3, Command & Conquer 4, the last one, Tiberian Twilight, which is supposed to be bad, but most importantly, Generals and 0 Hour, my favorite Command & Conquer game. Absolutely, if you've watched my channel for years, I did a lot of this. I loved playing games of Generals. It's absolutely a blast. I played a bunch of mods on my channel. This is awesome. Also, going on Steam and seeing that now the workshop is supported for old Command & Conquer games is really cool. Also, I just found out as part of the spring sale, if you're listening to this when it comes out, the spring sale includes all the Command & Conquer collection. And I believe it is only about $8 for the entire bundle of Command & Conquer Ultimate. This is what EA used to sell on Origin a million years ago, but now it's on Steam with workshop support. So I bought it for $8.15. I might have had a game or two, so maybe that's why it's a little cheaper, but I think on sale it's about $10 maximum because it's a 50% off and it doesn't cost more than $20 to buy everything. So I just bought the whole bundle. So yeah, definitely a worthwhile investment. I told Freeman about it. He played Generals a little bit when he was younger. I forgot.
Very briefly, but still a fun game.
Yes.
I just don't play RTS games.
Which is fine. Tyler, you could play Renegade. Renegade was like a proto Halo shooter. It had vehicle driving even. It was pretty cool.
Oh.
Did you guys play Halo Wars?
Yep.
I did not.
Is it as bad of an RTS as everyone memes
Played
about?
1, started 2. It's not that it's bad. It's about as good as a console RTS can be, which is not saying much.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the problem, is that it was like it was just very inconsistent. Like, you would hold A and it would kind of do a circle on the ground, and then it would select all units within that circle because you couldn't really drag and select. So it was just kind of rough, but it was cool. It looked cool, and it was fun ordering around a bunch of warthogs and stuff. Anyway, this is really cool. It's sad to me that this probably means that we're not going to get any new Command & Conquer stuff potentially ever again, but it is really cool to open this old game and see, hey, seems there's a big article on all of them. CNC Steam Workshop support and source code. So having the source code is always cool for these old games. So as a fan of the old Command & Conquers, I'm really excited by this. But now we get to all the rest of the news, which is all not.
Oh, you were saying praises of EA. Just to piggyback off of that, I think it's just kind of hilarious that you talk about them.
Minor praise, minor, reserved.
Minor, I'll say, because they got fucking by their own development studio, well, sub studio.
Well, no, this is owned by Warner Brothers.
No, I'm talking about EA. I'm not even.
Oh, I thought you were on the news story.
No. I'm talking about
We're still shitting on EA.
We're still shitting on EA because the president, like head of, the company that made It Takes Two and Split Fiction, because Split Fiction came out. Literally because on the heels of Dragon Age, EA's like, like they started cutting back like people from BioWare and stuff like that. So Yeah, we talked about that when Split Fiction came out, right? The president or like the owner of that company was just taking shots at EA, which is fucking hilarious because that's their publisher. And basically just like in a public statement like, see, single player games work just fine after selling like millions of copies already.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Well, goddamn. They can't even do shit because it's making them fucking rich as hell.
Well,
But that's all I wanted to say about that, which is hilarious.
It's okay. Let's do the next one. Let's do the real news.
That's okay.
That's not okay, but I mean,
Oh,
what are you gonna do?
just Monolith dying an unceremonious death.
Because stupid Warner Brothers sucks.
Just Warner Brothers killing everything.
Warner Bros. Is killing everything. And I don't care what anybody says. I get people are upset about the Nemesis system and, the Lord of the Rings games. I don't give a shit.
Fear.
I am never going to see another Fear game or another Condemned game, and that's why I'm upset. And I knew I was never
Okay,
I knew I was never going to get either of those.
Let's pause
Okay.
for a second, Tyler.
No,
I'm
no.
I'm not arguing.
I'm not
Tyler.
done yet.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
are.
not done yet. No, I'm not. Fuck you. I don't care. This is your channel. I'm
You can't
upset.
take the microphone from me.
No, you can't take the microphone from me. But yeah, I'm just like, damn, I'm never gonna get another Condemned game. Like, it's over. Like, I knew I was never gonna get one, but now I know I'm definitely never going to get one.
Yes, you were never going to get one, but here's the thing, Tyler. There's two things. Okay, for one, you originally included Fear in that statement. Fear 2 and 3 are not really already kind of took the series way down from Fear 1.
Nah, I thought 2 was good.
Okay, fine. Is 2 as good as 1?
No.
Okay, that's still a slope down then.
Still good.
You said that about any franchise.
What?
No, actually, I take that back. I'm opening a can of worms.
What?
Continue with what you're
That's
saying.
I was gonna
such a-
say, you're
that's
out
a
here talking
bold
mad
statement.
shit. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the flip side, Tyler, is Condemned to me seems exactly like the kind of thing that doesn't rely on the IP, and those guys could easily leave and go do another Condemned style game.
See, if they did though, they would have already.
Why?
I mean, why?
Well, because I'm saying Warner Brothers kept them on Lord of the Rings, and weren't they working on a Wonder Woman game that got canned?
Yes.
Like, they
Yeah.
hadn't been working on anything cool and indie like that in a long time. Shadow of Mordor was over 10 years ago, I think. Like, it's
True.
been a minute
Was
for
10
those
years ago?
Yeah, I hate it. But those games are older. So, like, it's not like there's, it's not like they've been able to work on any of that for a long time. So I think it's more likely now that we get Fear and Condemned style games out of those developers than something that uses the Nemesis system or whatever crud they were. I think Henry's still awake. Whatever stuff they were going to make for Warner Brothers now. I think it's much more likely that we go back to that kind of thing and that someone tries to make something like that now.
Yeah, you're probably right. That would be kind of.
I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean. This team did some cool stuff. Like, I know you mentioned not really caring about the Lord of the Rings. I actually really liked Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. I do think it's silly that the Nemesis system was trapped in jail by Warner Brothers for no reason. But regardless of that being outside of those games were really fun. I put a lot of hours into both of those, especially Shadow of War. I got to like the true ending or whatever it was.
It is some supreme scummy shit, because, like, I was talking... So I played Max Payne 3 over the weekend, and, like, we talked about... We can talk about that later and how I got on that train.
Please.
But, like, it was, like, we were talking about, Max Payne in general, and how, like, that bullet time mechanic, like, that mechanic alone was shoehorned into so many games.
Oh, yeah, dude.
After Max Payne 1, and it's like, I can't even imagine how pissed people would be. Like, this is almost on that same level of, like, if Remedy Rockstar was like, yeah, we're going to lock down bullet time,
yeah,
and no one else can use it, and it's like that, like, it's that level.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. But yeah, I mean, I do plan on playing both Shadow games at some point. I bought them both for like
Cheap.
$7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're worth it. I had a lot of fun with them. They're goofy with the actual like Lord of the Ringsy story, but it is kind of cool to see Celebrimbor, like the guy. I mean, Tyler, I think because you watched Rings of Power season 1, right? You also watched that.
Yes.
Like, it's cool to see another take on Celebrimbor, like a guy whose name you kind of know from Lord of the Rings, and he's kind of got a history though, and it's kind of cool how they play it out. Gollum is in there just for basically for fan service. As silly as
Right.
that sounds. Maybe that's where they got the idea for the Gollum game, because they were like, people cared about Gollum in the Shadow games. Maybe we could build a whole game off of that.
Dude.
Um,
Shovelware.
But yeah, so it is sad that Monolith is gone. Fear 1 was a really I think that's one of those cult classics, and that's one of those games that like it's janky, but there was a lot of stuff in that game that was like I still remember you hear those guys talking when they're like, oh, he's behind the desk, and you're like, oh my god, how did they know I'm behind the desk? And then like the physics of shooting out the glass and going into slow-mo, like the nail gun, Tyler, where you just
Yeah. The
like
nail
that.
gun is great.
Solid. Yeah, Fear was great. Shadows games were great, and Tyler says Condemned was great, so I'll trust that.
Can I say one thing about the whole discourse around this though? Like the
No.
number one thing I hear people talking about is like, oh man, I can't. Fine, I'm going to say it anyway. No one will shut the fuck up about the Nemesis system. It took me a week until I could find a solid explanation of what it was, because everyone's like, I can't believe this is locked up. They have a copyright to it. They're not using it. I looked up what it is, and as I read it, I'm like, how the fuck was this copyrightable? All this is remembering player actions for procedural generation. Like No Man's Sky did this for environments years before. It just didn't do it for enemy characters. So I can't believe this shit got copyrighted or trademarked, whatever they did to this concept.
Yeah, copyrighted.
Yeah.
I honestly am not. It is really weird, but like there are studios and publishers that have done something similar to this in the past.
I mean, I remember when the
Nintendo
big
is
famous
kind of
ones like
notorious for it with their, IPs, but also some game mechanics. But this one's been in the light a lot recently.
I mean, the one that always comes up is someone had trademarked mini games during loading screens, and the patent on that expired right when NVMe SSDs came out, so loading screens are not a thing anymore. But it's just like how this seems like such a not unique concept. Why is this something that you own?
I don't know how they got away with it. It sucks, but it's who knows what they'll do. Maybe they'll be really scummy and keep the patent up, but I don't know. They never did anything.
They'd have to have a game studio to do that though, and they don't. It seems like they're not really
closed
interested.
a bunch of them, so. And Freeman, don't you know it's all about the DC stuff and Lord of the Rings? That's their two big franchises, so.
Yeah, even though all their DC stuff is going into the fucking hole.
Yeah, because
and guess what? This is like the third time they're rebooting these fucking movies, and they're gonna die too.
You know, everyone's saying
I swear, man, we just need to make DC rivals.
It's not on the list.
Oh God.
But like, a lot of the articles that I at least see pop up on Reddit are like Superman kind of needs to make like $2 billion worldwide to like really like turn the DC around, the DCEU around. On like,
yeah.
Does Superman have that power anymore? I don't even know.
Fuck no, Batman does.
Yeah, but Batman gets to exist in its own pseudo world.
Yeah, I don't know. DC, man, fuck DC. I've gone on about DC enough on this show. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I'm fucking over them.
Yeah,
I really don't care.
I can't say I do.
You know what else I'm over? Fucking Oscars.
Oh God.
I just wanted to bring it up because they came.
That happened
and I'm
last
like,
time we recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they actually happened though.
Yeah, we were talking about the nominations last time.
Oh yeah, and the Brutalist one, or something.
Okay.
I did see a Nora that was on this list.
I listened to Anora while playing Magic the Gathering, so I know the plot, I know the dialogue. I just haven't seen. I haven't seen all of it, but it seems like a very interesting movie.
That's one way of saying it, I guess.
Well, it didn't seem like a boring. Did you think it was a boring movie?
Yes. I'm no meme actually. I thought it was boring. I think I gave it a 3.5. I mean, I get why people like it, but I thought it was boring. I felt like there was a lot of shit going on to really say that nothing is happening. And then I'm sure people listening to this, if they were ever to listen to this or read my letterboxd review, will disagree with me about how it's this interesting character journey that's also somewhat nihilistic in nature. Like I don't care. It was kind of boring. This was a 2-hour movie that could have been summarized in 45 minutes.
It seemed like they went back and forth on the same idea a lot.
Yeah, like it's like people are talking about like quick thing. It's like people were talking about like these scenes that were really good, and I'm like, yeah, but what did we learn from these scenes? Absolutely nothing. They spun their wheels the entire time before they finally came to some sort of decision, right, on what to do next. Like you spend like 20 minutes or 15 minutes on a scene, all for them trying to figure out what to do next, and they finally go do the thing for like another 15 minutes. Like that is the cycle of Act 1 and 2. Then the third act is just some other shit. But I digress. None of these movies I really gave a shit about. I might see The Brutalist, but like I read this like the summary of it or the synopsis, and I'm like, this sounds like every other was it a American Dream movie that I have seen in the past. Why would I watch this?
Gosh, like just not unique enough.
Yeah, foreigner comes to America and does crime to get ahead of everybody else.
No.
Where have I seen this story before?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Yep. Very original idea. And I doubt Adrian Brody's performance does anything to supplement that.
Ouch.
Hot take, I never thought he was a good actor.
I'm pretty sure he's not still seen as a good actor, is he?
He won a Academy Award Best Actor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't he one of those
recently?
people who like always has stories about how they're not like a great person behind the camera or something?
Maybe. I honestly don't know.
I mean, I could be
Probably.
totally wrong. I don't know.
He seems like that kind of guy.
Nah.
Especially with, man, Timothy Chalamet fucking killed it in Dune 2. Killed it.
Tyler, look, the only thing I cared about the Oscars is that Dune was basically nominated for nothing and didn't even win everything. It was, or maybe it did, but it was only nominated for like 2 things and it only won 1, I think, or something. So.
Yeah, see, that's how I know the Oscars is a fucking joke, because even though I'm not a big fan of Timothy Chalamet in general, he acted his ass off. And everybody knows that I will suck Denis Villeneuve's dick. But legitimately, he's a fantastic director, and the fact that like they will just refuse to give science fiction any sort of recognition is stunning to me. But you're gonna sit here and give me and be like, oh, Anora is gonna win shit. This Brutalist that I'm sure no one fucking saw before the Oscars, right? But we're gonna give stuff to that, but we're gonna completely ignore Dune. All right, yeah, ignore Dune, sure. It's just like really weird, and just it never made any sense to me.
You think those theater nerds are gonna respect us science fiction nerds? Never.
Which is crazy because it's like Denis Villeneuve directed a bunch of other normie shit before this, before he directed Blade Runner. And that was seen, like, Sicario got phenomenal. Like, all these movies he did got phenomenal reviews. But the second he started Blade Runner, it's like, we can't be giving it to this nerd shit.
Look, man, it's a slippery slope. You acknowledge science fiction, then you may have to acknowledge Marvel.
See, I don't think it's.
Wait a minute.
I don't think it's nerdy though. I think it's just
No?
like. No, it is, but like, there's also something to be said for like, wasn't Dune 2 like the biggest or one of the biggest box office movies of last year?
Yeah, it was. Well, that's what I'm saying.
But that's
it wasn't probably is like the biggest box office hit of the year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's not, to me, that's not, you can't really call that nerd anymore because it's
because a majority of people saw it.
To the Oscars though, it's It is nerd shit. Like
I think it's the opposite. Actually, I
that's
think
the way I see it.
I wouldn't call it not. I wouldn't call it nerd. I would just call it not artistic, is what they would probably call it.
Not
Tyler, I'm not agreeing.
Well, this goes down. This
but-
reminds me a lot of when Steven Spielberg said Marvel movies aren't movies.
Yes, or no, wasn't that?
It was the
Martin
same kind of-
Scorsese?
Martin Scorsese.
Or was it Scorsese? Sorry, I'm
I remember-
misremembering my directors.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Scorsese saying that. I don't know if Steven Spielberg did.
I wouldn't
No,
be
it was Scorsese.
surprised. It was Scorsese.
It was definitely given that Spielberg directed Ready Player One like during that time period. I doubt. Yeah, he probably
True.
didn't say it.
True. No, I do believe that it was. I mean, we can look it up live, but I'm pretty sure he said that.
Regardless,
we
it
did
reminds
talk
me of
about
the conversation surrounding that moment.
Yeah, we did talk about that, and he's not 100% wrong. Whatever. Oscars is a joke. I don't give a fuck. Theater snobs can come at me. I don't really care. I never did care. But I do think it's pretty funny. We have to talk about this. Like, what is
We
this?
do. So I'm gonna apologize twice. One because Discord keeps like losing connection, so I may cut out as I'm talking.
Oh, weird.
And then I'm also gonna apologize because we have to talk about Pokemon. So I have interesting thoughts here. I'm not buying these games, but I have thoughts about what's going on here. So,
You like how you had to preface that first? You had to
Yeah.
say.
Just as a reminder,
because
everybody.
You know what? Full disclosure, listeners, I did in fact purchase a Pokemon game this week. I bought Legends Arceus because I legitimately do want to play it after seeing the trailer for Legends Za. I don't want to play Legends Za. It looks like ass.
Zah, dude.
They come with the first trailer for Legends Za. Now that the Switch 2 is out of the bag, and they've confirmed it's set in one city and it's not in the past. So everyone thinking Pokemon Legends is all about the past of Pokemon, you're wrong. Legends can be whatever the fuck they want it to be. So you're in the city. They've given you the new starter list. You've seen the graphics. They've updated. They went from round and soft models in Sword and Shield to slightly fuzzy models in Scarlet Violet, just back to whatever the fuck was going on in Sword and Shield. So the graphics look a little weird. But the interesting thing is they've changed the battle system again. So Pokemon fans were very up in arms when they first saw the original Legends. Said, "What is going on here? What's this moving around? This is very different than what I'm used to." Legends Za makes your position, like your physical position of your Pokemon, super duper important. And it's kind of showing that they're willing to change up how the Pokemon battle formula works. And to preempt anyone getting mad about them messing with the original formula, they announced a second game called Pokemon Champions. And for anyone who keeps up with like competitive Pokemon, there's an app called Pokemon Showdown, which is just like you load in your team. It has all rules from all games. So like you have Mega Evolution, you have terrestrialization, where the fuck it was from the new game. But the point is, there's never been like a system that supported all Pokemon ever since the whole Dexit controversy with Sword and Shield. Pokemon Showdown has supported it. It is obviously not a licensed application; it's just a free fan thing. But the Pokemon company comes out and says, "We're coming out with Pokemon Champions," which ties into your home account, which has all your Pokemon from all your games, and it's just straight up, this is the battle engine. You want to do traditional style Pokemon battle games? It's now just its own separate game. So it seems like for the foreseeable future, competitive Pokemon battling now has an official platform, and Game Freak is like, yeah, we're now going to do whatever the fuck we want with Pokemon in the games. It does not have to stick to this battle system we came up with on the Game Boy anymore. And I think that part of it is actually interesting. It shows that they're willing to change up the formula, because Pokemon is more than just a 4-move turn-based one-on-one JRPG. They're finally going on like the Digimon route of being like, this franchise can be whatever we want it to be.
I think the simplest answer I would have is big if true. if they can actually show it in a game, it might be interesting to see.
Oh,
but
absolutely. I'm not implying they're going to make a good game out of this, but I am implying that they're no longer restricted to doing what they've been doing before and failing. They can now fail at something completely new and ambitious. Actually, get rid of that word ambitious. They don't know what that means. They can fail at something completely new. Anyway, that's it for the good news. If you're excited for Za, whatever, go get your Switch 2. I'm not buying one. And then in terms of weird news, one of these is hot off the presses today. One is a little older. So there were reports that Niantic, the company that makes and manages Pokemon Go, Monster Hunter Explorers, Harry Potter. It's all the same game with a different skin. They were looking to sell their game development division, which is kind of odd because they're a game development company. So it's like, well, what are you if you sell the one thing you have? So they sold their entire division to this company based out of Saudi Arabia, who has been buying up. I think they own like Marvel Snap. They own a lot of these like very predatory mobile games, and now they own Pokemon Go, which is interesting. Everyone's like, why would Nintendo allow this? Like, well, who do you think is a 10% investor in Nintendo? And of course, it's this company. So, whatever. I feel for the Pokemon Go community. I have not opened this app in 3 years now. I open it up randomly once in a while. This game sucks. I don't like Pokemon Go anymore. I feel bad for people who really like it because it's about to get run even further into the ground.
What?
Unfortunately.
No.
And then this one's not bad news. It's bad news for some people's wallets. But they confirmed that Lego is doing official Pokemon sets now. So expect scalpers.
Honestly, can't believe this wasn't a thing before.
Especially given how well the Mario sets did. They had a whole dedicated Mario Kart set like last year. So Nintendo's already been willing to work with them, and it's like Pokemon's kind of a no-brainer. Like you want to appeal to the kid crowd, but also get the millennials who spend their money on nerd shit. I wonder what franchise we can use.
How long until? Actually, I was gonna say how long until Pokemon comes to Fortnite, but Fortnite's too violent. That's like Pal World.
Fortnite is too violent.
Yeah, we can't have Pokemon with guns.
Yeah, you can't have Pikachu in a game that has guns in it. So, oops.
Pokemon. I still think Fortnite's a fever dream where I can watch like Hatsune Miku gun down all night.
You know what's funny, Freeman? We're not trying to derail us onto Magic, but this is just it's funny you say that. I saw a comment on Reddit like a week or two ago that on the Magic subreddit that pointed out pretty correctly that like people who've played Magic for a while are pretty sad about the amount of universes beyond stuff. But if you look at the graph of player count and money spent in Fortnite, it only has gone up. Like
I do not expect Universes Beyond to fail in any measurable way.
No,
it will not. It may disappoint long-term fans, but the portion of the people who are disappointed relative to the people who are like, take my money, is minuscule.
I think the only difference is that Magic has been around so much longer than Fortnite wasn't this.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing is like how long was it before Fortnite's first crossover? Maybe
I'm actually curious about this one.
I'm genuinely not sure. I don't know the data.
I don't know.
I'm looking at the. Oh my god! They ask you if you're an adult or a kid on the wiki.
Oh, what?
The very first collab was with YouTube
Oh
Marvel
my gosh,
during
it
Marvel during.
Does?
The first one was the Infinity Gauntlet during season 4 of.
Wow! It took that long.
That followed by the NFL, and then Ralph Breaks the Internet. Okay, this is then the Marshmallow concert. I mean, this got out of hand very fast.
Well, they also started the game with like a bunch of YouTuber stuff, even before the first season launched. But yeah, then Marvel showed up in season 4.
What are they on now?
And then it just goes crazy after that. I think they're on 10. It says there was a Batman in season 10, but maybe that just also could be the wiki being terrible.
Yeah. Either way,
season 4. So it took 4 years to do it versus the 30 years of Magic to start really doing it. Is there anything? Anyway, I didn't. Like I said, don't have to linger on it. Is that?
No, that was it. They didn't show off anything with the set. They just showed like Pikachu's tail in Lego bricks. So everyone's speculating what it's going to be.
Oh boy.
I can tell you right now. Pick one: Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo. It's one of those 3.
Or
in fact, it might be 2 of those 3.
Why not all 3?
Why not catch them all?
Why not stay in Japan?
Oh, I don't have the soundboard ready, so I can't celebrate being in Japan for the Weeb shit.
You just what? You just
I had to stall my sentence there while I go load it.
I thought you were like, I don't have it on this computer. I don't. It's not gonna work.
No, like I wasn't ready to just press the button, so I had to. All right. So some fun announcements as the winter season comes to a close. I think most shows only have like 2 episodes left, and then they're done, and we start a new season. So we'll have some stuff to say next recording about some of the stuff we watched. But we're expecting some big news this weekend. Anime Japan, one of the big expos out in the land of the rising sun, is happening. And in previous years, their website, they put like a bunch of random characters on it, and more often than not, every single one of those characters from a franchise is going to get an announcement. So there've been a lot on there. A lot of these are, franchises where you already expect to see them on here. But the big thing is that there are ReZero characters on it, and ReZero's finale is like, it's either this Wednesday or next Wednesday. So there's big expectations of a new season announcement, which would be really cool.
Didn't I see a post on our anime today, earlier today, Freeman, that was like, it's either a leak or a confirmation of ReZero coming in 2026?
There's a prominent Twitter leaker who said the studio is just going to continue working on what they're calling Season 3 Part 2, which is the dumbest fucking naming scheme because it's a different arc and they're going to take at least a year off to animate it. So, like, why not just call it another season? It's very much an Attack on Titan final season Part 3 type scenario here. Either way, speculating. I would really hope they announce something soon and don't do the whole, like, let's wait 3 years between announcements shit. But actually, I'll jump around because the other show famous for waiting 3 years between announcements, also owned by Kadokawa, Konosuba, before Anime Japan confirmed this week on Twitter that they are getting a new sequel anime project.
Oh my God.
What that means, no fucking clue. They
use
the vaguest thing. Like, it's an animation project sequel. And I'm glad they said sequel because I was like, please don't give me
another
like Megumin
spin-off.
Season 2. I don't need this. Don't give me another spinoff. Like, don't give me the Darkness show. I really don't need this.
Nope.
Especially
because we just did the Darkness arc in
yes.
in the show.
Either way, I'm so excited if we're gonna get Konosuba 4 in a reasonable time frame.
I need it like air.
We've been so starved of good comedies that this was. I just need more of it.
Shoot, now you have me being like, what do you mean we have good?
Surely, blah blah was really funny.
Wait, what?
I thought you were about to throw back that something else was really funny in anime recently that we've been missing.
I mean, right now, 100 has been hysterical.
Yes.
That's.
Okay.
I mean, it's garbage, but it's
yes,
hysterical.
It's funny garbage. All right, you got that. Anyway, moving on. Free-Run Season 2. We knew it was happening. We didn't have a date. Now we do. January 26th. So we're three seasons away, but it's happening within the calendar year.
Oh my God.
So very excited.
So much hype. It's the original director back. So excited. Sorry, Bochi fans. That director is busy with something bigger.
Get rocked. I think the big question is, people were under the impression when season 1 ended that there wasn't a lot of material to adapt. The question is this going to be a 12 or 26 season?
You mean 24?
It could be anything.
You said 26.
I know. Like, we don't know what it is. Minimum would be 12, max will be 26.
Why would it be 26?
It depends. So anime seasons are typically either 13 or 12 episodes long because of calendar schedules.
That's fair.
So if you hit 2 schedules back to back that are 13, you get 26 episode shows.
Gotcha. I feel like I so often just see 12s these days.
Oh no, it usually is. They've stopped doing 26 just so they can build in like a gap week for the production.
Yeah, somewhere.
But like back in the day, like shows were either 26 or 52. Then it was they were only 13 or 26. Now it's like, hey, this show is 10 episodes for some reason.
You know, I gotta say, we've talked about it before, but it is so funny to me how it really is this, like, we went from the era when we were growing up of, like, anime just went on, and now it's like, outside of, like, One Piece, nothing lasts more than 2 seasons in a row, maybe. Like, it's crazy if something lasts
I hate it here, honestly.
I mean, Dragon Ball fans got whiplash because Daima ended last week at 20 episodes. I was like, what the fuck is this 20 episodes? This is so short. And I'm like, for Dragon Ball, yeah, that really is. Like,
yeah, you know what it's called? It's called they didn't put filler in any. They don't do. No one can afford filler arcs anymore.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is basically just one arc, but it's like they just don't do it like that anymore. And the only shows that can pull it off are like One Piece, where they inject filler, or Boruto, where legitimately the entire show is just filler.
Or the case of One Piece, where for the first time in like its entire run's history, they took a break for like a month or 2.
So it was actually interesting. I was looking into what they did because One Piece didn't go off air. They re-aired the previous arc, but they edited out the filler.
That's crazy.
Like they just were like, now that we don't have to keep up, like, fix it because we're aware this arc sucked. We padded the living shit out of it. Show the real version. So that's what's been on Japanese TV since then.
I thought there was the fan letter thing.
Well, that too. But that was like a separate. Like, I don't think that was aired in the time slot instead of the episode. regardless, I can't watch it because it's super spoilery, and I do intend to watch One Piece when the Studio Wit adaptation airs later this year.
Is that coming later this year? I forgot that was.
I believe it's planned for 25.
Hmm.
I can look this up real quick in the background. But moving on. This one's weird. So, have you guys all seen the movie Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it's based on this light novel turned manga called All You Need Is Kill.
Oh yeah,
And-
aren't they coming out with an anime of
That's
that?
Tyler.
Yeah,
that's
they
literally
came out with a
what-
trailer.
I'm
and the-
doing other stuff while because
Wow,
all
Kevin,
good, all
way
good.
to
I didn't
show
get to
those.
that. So they came with the trailer. I don't think it's following the plot because, like, I read the first volume of the manga, and I'm pretty sure it was the same way where you have what's her name, like Rita, the previous one who could loop, and then you have the guy who can loop now. But this one seems like it might be about Rita during her time being a looper. Either
That's
way,
kinda
the
neat.
animation style
interesting.
is very, very strange.
Didn't
Like,
watch
I
the
can't
trailer.
tell if they're just doing CG mixed with 2D, but it doesn't look like your standard anime.
I want to pull this up on YouTube, and I'm not gonna.
I remember
play audio,
watching
but I
it.
wanna-
What, are they going to play the audio into your
No,
recording?
I'm not
video?
gonna play the audio. I'm gonna pause it. Oh wow, never mind. I just hovered over it, and I just see. Oh my god, this is a weird.
It's strange looking. I'm curious though because
Oh.
You all are strange looking, but I hang out with y'all.
yeah, I know, right?
This looks
Yeah.
very. Is this Trigger?
I don't think so.
This looks there. I'm looking at this art style. It reminds me. It feels like of one of the Star Wars Visions episodes. I can't remember which, but the style feels like it seems familiar-ish. I don't know.
No, it's being done by Studio 4 Degrees C, who, oh good lord, they did the Berserk Golden Age arc.
Oh God,
Oh boy.
I'm honestly turned
Um,
off already now. I really don't want to watch this anymore. I thought it looked pretty interesting, and now that kind of fucked me up.
But guys, they animated Halo Legends in 2010.
All right, now you okay? Well, you literally just killed any sort of interest I had in this.
Yeah,
show.
there we go.
Hey Tyler, to be fair,
No,
no,
he said Golden Age arc and Halo Legends, and
Tyler,
that was it.
all I wanted to say was kind of like Star Wars Legends, but not as much. Some of the shorts in Legends were okay. Most
In
of them
Halo?
were not. Yes,
No,
there was one or two that were fine, like when the Spartans attack the Covenant ship and it's just an action shot for like 5 straight minutes. That one was cool.
I honestly forgot.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It is mostly forgettable. I'm not trying to come at you or anything. I'm just saying like it wasn't all the worst, but then some of them were just like some of them were really
Yeah.
like I think the worst of Legends was definitely worse than the worst of Star Wars Visions was.
Yeah, just.
Oh, actually, I don't know. There was like the kids playing music on Tatooine or whatever. Yeah, they both had some real low lows.
Just because we're talking about Star Wars Visions, did you guys watch the second batch?
I did a whole review on here about it.
Oh, that's right. I need to figure what episode those because I'm thinking of watching the second batch now that they're doing a third and it's back to Anime Studios again.
It's interesting. I don't know if I would watch.
Would you call it entertaining?
I was entertained by it. Definitely
All right, that's good enough.
less good overall, but still fine.
I've watched shows that don't meet the bar of entertaining before, so I'll take it. Moving on. Netflix released the dub trailer for the Devil May Cry anime. And I gotta say, it's weird. It's so weird hearing Johnny Young Bosch as Dante when he already prominently voices another big character in this franchise. Either way, action looks pretty cool. This is going to make absolutely zero sense at all, but I'm all here for it. And then in terms of shows I don't know if I'm all here for, they've been going down the line of figuring out all the girls playing sports genres they can do. We got badminton recently. They're doing golf right now. And next season, they're doing bowling with a show called Turkey. I don't know how they can make this interesting. I was going to say it. As someone who likes to bowl, I don't know how you're going to make this interesting.
You're not. Just like any of these other gimmick ass.
Apparently, the golf
Animes.
one is funny, but I don't know.
See, I'll only do a golf one if it's a crossover with that chick from Initial D, that Takumi D.
Oh my god.
The only reason why I'd watch it.
Where it's just a golf anime, but there's like Eurobeat in the distance,
Yes.
and occasionally someone rolls up in an 8-6.
Occasional Eurobeat.
All right. And then speaking of last anime gimmicks, let's do anime movies. So the Demon Slayer movie trilogy, which is coming out in July in Japan, the first of 3.
I was gonna say
We're
first one.
we're getting it in the U.S. in September. They came with a bunch of release dates. It seems like they don't want any 2 countries to have it at the same time, which is very odd. So Japan gets 2 months exclusive access, and then the end of August they start rolling it out worldwide. I don't know what the run is going to look like. I know they are doing airings both sub and dub, but I imagine we're going to get like at least a week of this in theaters.
I mean, this might well be the next movie I see in a movie theater.
I'm 90% sure I'm seeing Mickey 17 in the next couple weeks, but other than that, Demon Slayer is the next one coming up.
That could have been in the
I was
news how much
thinking
that movie
about-
didn't make money.
I was thinking about watching it. Nikki 17.
I mean, I'm definitely intrigued.
Intriguing.
I just want to
Anyway.
watch a movie in theater.
Do you?
I know. I had like
Yes.
a week. It was like
That's
right
fair.
after Christmas. I went to so many movies in theaters, and not gonna lie, I missed that like in the theater experience.
I miss it too. If only it wasn't like $40.
Yeah.
Like for me to pay for Val and I to go is like $50.
I have gift cards.
Val has one of those too, and we'll probably save it for this.
Anyway, that's it for the Weeb shit.
Wow. That's actually all the news that we had built up from the past few weeks, but we do have a ton of watched and played stuff.
Well, as always.
Well, to be fair, in my case, lately I've had very little. Val and I finished 1 anime, but also I watched 7 movies in the last week and a half.
Hell yeah.
Because of traveling for work. I was on a plane that it was a long flight to San Francisco, and I had TVs on my planes both ways and a 4-hour delay on my second flight. So I got to watch 7 movies over the course of traveling that I would not normally get to watch. And since I'm talking about this so much, I'm going to shift the 1 anime to after the movie spree. But Tyler, we actually, by pure chance, watched... I was texting you as I was getting ready to take off and watch this
That
movie.
was really funny.
And you went, oh, hey, I'm also watching this movie totally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We both watched Gladiator 2.
Man. It was just the same motherfucking movie.
But with a 2 at the end of it.
Just
And
with a
less
2
good.
at the end. It was less good.
It was less good. Less special. They traded the singular story of a guy for a really, really desperate attempt to bring the Rome freedom dream thing back from the first movie and kind of close that loop in a way that didn't need to be closed. And they just kind of forced everything to happen again. I feel like part of the reason this movie exists, Tyler, is because Denzel wanted to be in a Rome movie.
He probably did, honestly. You could tell.
Because he's loving it. Denzel is really having a good time when he's on
Yes.
screen.
He is hamming it the fuck up.
There was 1 or 2 scenes where I thought the main character, I don't even know what his actor name was. I don't know what his actor is.
Forget.
He's much more forgettable than Russell Crowe is. Russell Crowe brought like this like cold. This sounds so edgy, but like he was cold rage the whole time after he gets betrayed in the movie. Like you could tell, you feel like Russell Crowe is like about to just snap and start killing people at any second. And this guy has like 1 yelling scene that was pretty good when he's like screaming at the woman. In his
Oh
cell
yeah,
tower.
he didn't really sell it as well.
No, but like then there's the scene where he's like hyping up the crowd, and I was like, you did not earn this even a tiny bit.
No.
Like you think in the first movie, I know I texted you this when I landed. By the way, Tyler, our scores on Letterboxd, I think I went with a 3 and you went with a 3.5.
I did.
I think when I landed and we texted about this, my biggest thing, one of my things was the fights feel really short and not memorable.
They're not, but they were cool.
They were cool, but they just didn't stick at all, and they felt really short. Like they didn't want to do the fights. Like the fights felt a lot more like this goes to this, and then you're done. Like I think of the ship fight in the Colosseum. Like, what a cool thing that they could not have probably done back when they made the first movie. A fight. Go ahead.
I'll say I was reading trivia, and apparently that was the case for like half of these fights.
Yep.
Was that they
But
wanted to do these in the first movie, but they didn't have the technology, like the rhino fight.
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Tyler, you could so easily see whatever the one-on-one with the mask guy is, him riding in on that rhino in the first movie instead of walking in.
Exactly.
Because it turns into a one-on-one anyway.
Dude.
I don't know. The first guy's story, this new guy's story isn't as compelling. They lean a lot on the first movie. And it feels really weird and like unearned. Especially like the last line of the movie, Tyler, kind of stuck with me of like, what are you even doing this for? Like, this is so extra.
But actually.
But it wasn't bad. The fights are still good. They're just not memorable. Like, this movie just feels way less memorable than the first movie. A lot less special.
Yeah, I'll say this. If this was Gladiator 1, I'd be like, all right, sure. Like, if Gladiator 1 never existed and this came out,
Gladiator
like
wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, probably.
I think
you think
also.
So?
Well, I just mean like Gladiator. No. I think like there wouldn't be a sequel to this movie.
Also true.
I do think also it doesn't help that they kind of just throw out these new emperors who are just psychos to be psychos, and they don't have like Commodus's like quiet psycho.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they clearly tried to outdo like Joaquin Phoenix's like crazy and like the Commodus like role. Like, well, what if we made just two really awkward ones? And I'm like,
real
who fucking
psychos.
cares?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't really selling it to me. Like,
no.
And then on top of all that, this is one thing I remember texting you about, and like there were so many member berries in this entire movie.
So many, dude.
oh god.
It just like, dude, like it really undersells the movie. Like what do you, so you're gonna to sell this movie to me, you're basically gonna try to get me to
remember that
the
first movie? Remember?
Yeah.
Like
and what's worse is
oh my god, when they go
fucking Ridley Scott directed this movie. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
Like you didn't do this with like you don't have to play all the member berry cards. Like, you could just let us remember the movie exists and go watch it again and not do this.
Yeah,
Like,
all you have to do is say strength and honor once, and then everybody's like, oh shit, strength and honor, bro. Like, that's it. That's all you gotta say. You don't have to do anything else. Like, fucking Christ. Like, it's so annoying.
But Tyler, when they go in and Maximus's armor hasn't been touched in like 16 years in the
I cringed. I wanted to fucking pause it and walk. I'm not even kidding. Like, I almost did. I was like, maybe I'll come back to this later. I'm like, no.
Yeah, dude.
You have nothing else going on. Just finish the movie. Like,
yeah, Freeman. Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the final, like, over the credits, they play the song again.
yes.
And when that happened, I was like,
I rolled my eyes actually at that, and I was like,
you don't
fuck
deserve
this.
this at all.
How dare you stand where he stood?
Literally, that could be the name of this movie, Gladiator 2. How dare you stand where he stood?
It's so crazy because Ridley Scott literally stood here.
Look.
God damn it, bro.
Here's the easy summary. This movie didn't have to exist.
Yeah, it didn't have to exist.
It didn't have to exist. It's fine. Watch the first movie. You don't have to watch this if you're curious. I'm curious. This is another case where I'd be curious to see someone who never watched the first one a long time ago. Like, I didn't watch the first one when it came out, but I watched it years ago. Versus that, like, if someone was like, I've never watched Gladiator 1. Oh, the second one's coming out. Why don't I watch the first one and then immediately watch this? I wonder what their take would be. But no, didn't bring anything new to the table. I remember moments of this movie only as a point of me having mentally compared them to the first movie.
Dude.
Like, remember, like, even thinking of, like, the thumbs up, thumbs down scenes. Like, remember when Commodus is, like, doing that little shushing motion to the crowd, like little things like that I just remember so vividly from the first movie when they're like, live, live, live. And he's like doing the little, like, you remember what I'm talking about, Tyler, where his hand's shaking. He's like turning to the crowd a little bit. He's like, shh, 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 shh. And it's like
Yeah.
all these little moments that are so good. And then there's just like this whole plot with Pedro Pascal that just kind of runs through really fast.
Trying to be Maximus too. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
like he's even fucking his girl too,
Literally.
like down to the T. Like I'm like whatever. Like I don't like. Yeah, I like Pedro Pascal too, but like
Honestly,
you're trying to sell me on him. But like I
honestly,
don't care.
Part of this movie felt like they wanted to do a reunion tour, and they were like, "How do we write a movie that gets as many actors from the first movie back? How many people who literally we didn't see die can we bring back for this movie?" Again?
Which is funny because they literally couldn't bring anybody back except what's her face.
No, the senator.
Except Mom.
The senator is the same.
Oh right, the center's the same guy too.
The general is the same. The guy with the scar on his face. Maximus is number 2, the guy who gives him the sword. That's
True.
He is the general
True.
that we and they very much do the, oh my god, it's it pop 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 pop.
I mean, you look at the production staff on this. A lot of it was the same between original Gladiator and this one. So
but that's what I'm saying.
We want to do this again.
Like, let's do it again. But it's like, how the fuck with the same people? How do you make it but worse?
Because they were like, oh, we already did it once, do it again. And then I think a lot of this fell apart in the writing. I think you didn't have to do the whole, oh, the dream of Rome is even more dead than before. We gotta really try to bring the dream of Rome back now. It's like, shut up.
This.
Like, this is so stupid. We don't have to do this whole the dream of Rome thing. That was special.
They should have just made it again, but Red Rising.
I was gonna say they should have just
been hilarious.
Oh man, if this was Red Rising, that would have been okay. I have a lot more movies to get through, but I'm gonna move through these a lot quicker because no one else watched these. Funny enough, on that same flight, literally the next movie I watched was Moana 2, which I gave the exact same score to for the exact same reasons. It's the same movie as the first one, but less good. There's like no memorable songs in this movie. The story is roughly the same idea, except now Moana, instead of having this personal journey for herself, has like a team of nitwits with her who are all quirky. There's an angry old man and a guy who's a Maui fanboy, and then the quirky, crazy inventor girl, and it's like they just have the same adventure but shorter and less interesting. Also, they try to set up the Moana cinematic universe. They literally have a Thanos moment where they have a guy who's like sitting on a throne, and then a character from the movie walks up to them and is like, "How you doing, big guy?" It's like literally the same thing.
I hate this.
They also make a meta commentary. They also break the fourth wall where Maui calls Moana a princess, and then she's like, "I'm not a princess," and he's like, "But a lot of people think you are." There's also a one where Maui makes a joke about like, what is it, like about phones buzzing or like putting something on silent, and he's like, "You'll get it in 2,000 years." I'm like, shut the.
Oh God.
What are you doing?
Please.
Yeah.
Just like, what's his name from the Elusive Samurai?
Oh God, yeah. Except way less funny. Yeah, no, the movie is kind of just the same. It kind of just survives because the animation is still gorgeous, and some of the songs were good. None of them were like aggressively bad. They were just kind of generic and less interesting. But it just, again, it felt like a sequel that just like, okay, how do we just do it again and make money and just come on, let's just do the same thing again, copy and paste, make money, go 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 go. And that's just what it felt like. And then the last movie on that flight was, oh wait. Oh no, I watched I watched 6 movies because I watched the South Park. I was landing soon. They had the South Park overweight special where it's like everybody in town is doing like Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Oh, I haven't seen this one yet. Was it good?
It's good. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I didn't laugh a lot, but maybe I'm just not maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace to laugh at South Park after 4 hours on a plane. It was good. It was like good commentary and everything. It gave me a couple chuckles, but I wasn't like laughing out loud at it. But Tyler, if you're saying you laughed at it a lot, then that's a good endorsement.
Yeah,
I didn't give that
Michelle and I thought it was funny.
yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. But then on my super delayed flight, before my plane even took off, I watched the entire movie Conclave, which is the Ralph Fiennes the movie about the Vatican. The Pope suddenly passes away, and it's about the conclave that convenes of cardinals to elect a new pope. It was fine. I gave it a slightly higher score, but I also didn't heart it on Letterboxd. It's cool to see like because the Pope and the Catholic Church is seen as this big monolithic thing. It's very interesting to see people who or to see the human side of it, I want to call it, like the dramatic side of it a little bit, but like the people who are at the head of this thing and how it's kind of like a political body, but also they have this like binding thing that's not a nation, but is faith. And they play on that a lot. It's kind of like if someone talked about like, what is the United States to you kind of thing. It's like, what is the church, like what is church and faith and everything. They touch on that a bit. But it was kind of dinged because the ending just kind of comes out of nowhere and feels a little cheap. It feels like pretty unearned.
They didn't build to it.
Not at all. Like, okay, it's one of those things where like as soon as you think on it, you're like, they were seeding that this was going to happen from literally the beginning. But it just kind of is like, it does nothing, and then just builds and it happens, and that's it. And then there's like even a twist on that, and it's like, it just felt like very like, ooh, what kind of shock value can we get at the end here? It was fine. It's got a lot of good reviews on Letterboxd. It's mostly a 4-star, so people liked it. Rachel Falsister gave it 4.5, so she really liked it.
It was also nominated for Oscars. Yay.
Yeah, and it deserves it. It was good acting. Ralph Fiennes does a great job. There's a bunch of people: Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow.
Ralph Fiennes in anything.
Yeah, Ralph Fiennes. Honestly, you know what's funny? If you look at his filmography, it seems like he has been doing so much filming in the last few years. And he's just been in a lot. I know you have one of the movies on your list, Tyler, to come up later.
Yes.
That's another good one, but he has just been in everything, it feels like. It's crazy. But that was fine. Then I treated myself to a terrible movie. Tyler, I forget, did you watch any of the Venom movies?
I watched the first one, and
Okay.
I did not continue them after that one.
Okay. I thought I could have sworn someone had watched the second one, but you and Leslie both said Leslie like started the first and you finished it. The second one was fine. I watched the third one. This is a bad movie. This is a straight bad movie. I gave it a 1.5, which is my lowest score in a while. It is the only redeeming thing is that the CGI is still very slick with like turning into Venom and all the Venom stuff flying around is like looks good. This plot is so nonsense. Like there is nothing here. There's a villain who like has no personality. Again, it's another attempt to set up a big multi-movie villain who has like these minion creatures. The minion creature literally teleports wherever it needs to be. Like literally is just in a scene when it needs to be. It does nothing. The story is just so all over the place, and so it's like kind of trying to do like a Shazam thing at the end even. How did you see Shazam?
Unfortunately.
Well, Shazam was better than this, so if you thought that was unfortunate.
Shazam was better than this, but it's still like...
Tyler, imagine...
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, imagine that with Venoms.
The
plot just kind of goes nowhere. Like, it's literally just doing whatever it needs to. There's this whole thing with, like, a hippie family trying to go to Area 51 who just kind of stumbles through everything, and it's just like... Tom Hardy doesn't seem to super care. I've never liked his character. He's always Eddie Brock's always just been I talk like this and I'm like Mad Max, but I'm not.
Tom Hardy, yeah.
What did I say? Tom Holland? I meant Tom Hardy.
No, I thought you said Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay. He's just
no. I was just saying like I was like he plays Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
Tom Hardy plays Tom Hardy.
He plays I'm not a criminal or a silent protagonist like Max, so I just kind of talk like this. I'm not really. But it was just I shouldn't waste any more words on it. It was just not good. And there's a lot of dumb convenience and stuff. It's just weird. Then the last new movie I watched, my highest rated actually out of all of them was Wolves, the Apple movie that had George Clooney and Brad Pitt as basically competing cleanup men.
Oh, this one.
This was pretty good. This felt like George Clooney and Brad Pitt wanted an excuse to hang out for a couple months, so they decided to make a movie where most of it is just the two of them being the same character back at each other and seeing who can put their own twist on it a little bit. Like, they make comments in the movie how they're similar. They are so close to the same character. It's like it's like the classic, what is it? Copy my homework, just change it enough so that the teacher doesn't know.
That's funny.
Like, the AI check of this would be like, this is 95% plagiarism. But they kind of make a meme out of it. It feels almost like an indie thriller story that happened to have two massive actors want to be the main two characters. This is very much one of those small cast movies where it's like, I think one scene has a whole room of people dancing, and like every other scene in this movie almost has like 2 to 4 people on screen at a given time. Like, it's a very small, tight production that's supposed to be all about these two characters. And it's interesting, but also it's kind of like, it's not super surprising, and it's just not breaking a ton of new ground. It's just kind of, do you like seeing two well-known actors kind of BS back and forth? And I enjoyed it, and it was fine. Nothing to like go and see it. And like I said, this was definitely, I tried to make a lot of these movies that I watched because I was on an airplane, and it's not something I like have on a streaming service. So that was where all of this came from, was like, what do I not normally have access to? All of these things. And then the last one, Friedman's about to talk about it. I'll actually move this around so that you can go right into it, Friedman. But Val and I showed Friedman Shaun of the Dead for the first time ever the other day. And before Friedman talks about Shaun of the Dead, and I can too, Hot Fuzz is... Actually... Yeah, I'll say it. I think Hot Fuzz is the slightly better movie. To me, Shaun of the Dead is a 4.5. Hot Fuzz is a 5.5. This is even... Freeman, I know I said when we watch Shaun of the Dead, every time I watch it, something new comes out of the woodwork that I see as a detail. Hot Fuzz, same thing. But I was laughing on the plane, or desperately
The great are good.
The great are good. There's so many memes that come out of these two movies, but like every single second...
You ain't never seen Bad Boys 2.
Which one do you want to watch? Bad Boys 2 or Point Break?
No, which one are we going to watch first?
It's so... You're always down for a bit of girl on girl, aren't you, Doris? It's just every... This is such a perfectly tight script. The editing is amazing. The action is even awesome. This movie goes through like 5 changes of genre over the course of the movie. Like, top to bottom, I hesitate to use the word perfect movie, but Hot Fuzz, there's no wasted fat, but it's not one of these... It feels like it's not trying to be one of these modern movies, and I feel like this is the mistake a lot of modern movies make, is they try to be like, ooh, did you see that we just referenced back to that thing? Like, they give the pause shot. Hot Fuzz doesn't really do that. There's no, like, super long camera hold on, like, ooh, did you see the thing that they said? Like, Tyler.
Oh, it's very, like, you blink and you miss it.
It's very, like, just you register it or you don't, and the movie just keeps going. And it's, like, it's still funny if you don't register it, but if you do, it's even funnier. Like, fascist! Hag.
Yep.
Like, it's so good, the 1-2, the Peace Lily. You just can't switch off, Nicholas. You do realize that window was broken from the inside. Top to bottom, such a perfect movie, such a funny thing, especially coming off of watching Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead literally the day before, Friedman.
That person in there is not your husband. Turns off the radio.
It was such a good scene.
Yeah, so we can talk about Shaun of the Dead and get Freeman's first impressions on the Cornetto trilogy. But Hot Fuzz literally could... I told Friedman we could have watched it like on Sunday when you guys were over. Like I would have watched it again. I don't care. Hot Fuzz is so infinitely rewatchable and so funny to me every time. So 5 stars, heart, maximum rating on Letterboxd. But Freeman, what did you think of Shaun of the Dead?
So yeah, Shaun of the Dead. I very much enjoyed it. I didn't know who directed it in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, is this the same director, Scott Pilgrim? This like fast cutting feels so familiar.
Sure
And of course it
fucking
is. I really enjoyed the movie. I think Tim, you brought it up. I don't know if it was after or like 3/4 way through the movie about just like how limited of a set this was shot on.
Yep.
And it made me appreciate the movie even more, just because it felt like they did a lot with very little.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't notice it until it had to get pointed out to me. Overall, very good. Love the pacing of it. All the zingers are really good. I kind of want to rewatch it now that you know everything, so you can see references to stuff that you're supposed to catch. So I love when movies are rewatchable like that.
But dogs can look up.
God damn it.
No, because Tyler, Freeman's right. The scene where they're walking through the horde to the bar,
Yeah.
I realized that in the background of that shot, you can see Liz's apartment building. It's literally across the street is where the Winchester physically is from Liz's apartment. They shoot it so you can't tell, but I'm pretty sure that literally behind them is Liz's apartment and the field in front of her house.
That's really funny, actually. Damn.
But yeah, I'll just sit here and honk 3 times. Where's the car, Ed? I smashed it.
Yeah,
good.
it was really good. I'm excited to eventually get around to Hot Fuzz,
Yeah,
which seems like it's a more of a how soon rather than a when.
Yes. Don't stop me now, 'cause I'm having a good time.
Kill the queen!
The dart throw just zings, yes, right into the head. It's so good. Oh man, so funny.
Great movie.
And then the last thing I'll talk about, just so that I can take a break and these guys can take over for good for the rest of the episode, pretty much.
Good.
For good. Anime exists. Val and I finally finished a show that is not a seasonal, that one of the ones that I threw on after watching the first episode a while ago. We finally finished Girls Band Cry, the show that came out, I think, the season after Jellyfish Swim in the Night.
I thought it was like half a year after, it was definitely after.
It was close. Jellyfish I thought was great. This is better. They do so much. The show is weird. If you can't get over the CGI, you're not gonna get over the CGI. I totally ate it up. This is the first show, I think, that isn't trying to find a 3D style that works for anime. They made the anime style you think of work on 3D models, and they really use it. There are a lot of shots. Freeman, I told you this. In Bocchi, what's one of the most impressive shots that they did? The one of her playing the guitar from her point of view.
Yeah, the Guitar Hero angle.
When they fly around a bunch during that performance. They do that all the time in this. They love to take the camera and just whip it around like crazy and really get into the feel of being in the middle of this big concert thing. And they do a couple shows like that. The main character, Bocchi's kind of funny in that Bocchi is so awkward, but the other characters don't have a lot to them in Bocchi. Bocchi kind of is the anchor or the rock. Yeah. Bocchi the rock. Bocchi is the rock though, really, for that show. And Jellyfish kind of about the main vibe of the girls. But in this one, really, there is at least a little bit to all of the girls. I would say like the 2-ish main girls. The main girl especially really has a lot going on. And they really play that up more. Like this feels like, even more than Jellyfish was, this is like an emotional show where they really leaned into like all these girls have a past, and it affects the music they make and who they are now. And I just thought it was excellent. I gave it a 9. This is probably my new favorite of like the music shows. Because Jellyfish I gave an 8, and maybe I would bump that down now even. But this earned a 9. This was really good top to bottom. If you have any interest, like this is a show I could recommend to almost anybody who's willing to tolerate the CGI. or has any ability to watch a show about girls in a band, like this is really good.
Mildly
Get around
reminds
to it
me
then.
of Beck.
Of what?
Beck.
It was very good for its time. I tried to rewatch it.
Fourth
It might be a
time, I
little more
imagine.
painful.
Yeah.
But it was this like mid 2000s show about this kid who he doesn't have any hobbies. He falls in love with guitar and he just tries to get into this band, and then shit starts hitting the fan.
Oh.
And the music was very good. It was one of the few shows where the dub cast, they only got people who were legitimately musicians. So the dub cast singing may not have been as good as the Japanese, was pretty good.
I will say, one of the only things that isn't like superstar about this show, the music was fine. I haven't gone back and listened to any of it other than the intro. So it wasn't like, wow, this is the most amazing musical show. But also, Bochi and Jellyfish were kind of like that. So that's not a massive mark against it in that, like, ooh, can't possibly recommend it. Like, no, it was still good.
All right.
And now I'm done.
All right. Now I got to talk about trash for a little bit.
Oh,
So,
no.
not anime. I haven't finished any anime. I'm like slowly working towards the end of the season. But I did finish a lot of live action shows with my Monday group. So we finished Bridgerton season 2. What do I want to say about this show?
We can both comment on it. We already have.
Good lord, they dragged this season on so long.
And you think it's gonna get worse in season 3.
Oh my fucking god! Like, I remember, I watched season 1, and I think like the marriage in that season happens in like the 5th episode or something. So they had like a good progression of here's a build-up relationship, here's it falls apart, here's the marriage, here's the fallout from the marriage, here's the resolution of it. This one is like they spend like 6 episodes of just he's going after the younger sister, but we know he really wants the older sister, and it's just every episode is the same thing. And then there's the bee sting episode, and I'm like, all right, cool, they're gonna wrap this up, right? Wrong. 3 more episodes of will they, won't they, before we just jump ahead to like a post epilogue. I was not happy with the pacing of season 2.
Yep. All reasonable points.
Yeah, I think overall I liked season 1 a lot better. But I am gonna watch what the
Yeah,
prequel
you
about
are.
the Queen next. I wasn't planning to watch
Queen
season
was
3.
fine.
I'm gonna watch Queen because one of the people watching was like, "Hey, there's a little bit of context that helps for season 3," and I'm like, from what I can tell, anything that'll make season 3 better is probably a good idea. So, we're gonna watch that
They're
one
in the
first.
continue. It is still wild to me.
Look, I need to know. I've seen the hot air balloon episode out of context. I want to
wish
see
I
it again with
didn't know.
context.
Like, I really wish I didn't know.
Tyler, it really is funny though that he's watching like this show still after coming in at literal and seeing the worst of it.
That's what I'm saying, and like he's not even contractually obligated, which is wild to me. Like that's just crazy.
I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say he watched it with his other friend group.
Yeah, I kind of am. They give me.
But that's not contractually obligated.
So,
you're down to walk out when you want to.
Yes, because it hasn't gotten bad enough for me to walk out yet. Now we'll see.
See, that's the name is crazy.
See, but he's seen the worst, so he might just stick with it.
Look, I'm pretty sure that episode is also the one where they play "Give Me Everything" by Pitbull for violin, and that was the moment where I realized the show is stupid. But we'll see, because like I'll put it this way: in Yiddish, there's a term for someone who's just a gossip or loves like listening to tea. The term is yenta. It's generally a term reserved for women. That said, my other friend group knows me as the king of the yentas. I'm always there for the tea, and this show is just tea the live action series.
King of the yenta, dude. I remember you were telling me this, and I love it.
I mean, also, I feel like part of this is the same thing that drives, you guys have memed on me watching like Jersey Shore and stuff. It's the same drive in all of us to just consume a little bit of garbage.
Yeah, I don't consume that level of garbage, though. Yeah, you say there it is because it's true.
Notice how only one person in this podcast doesn't watch the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You.
I know.
Trashiest anime of the season.
Anyway. And who has more fun than us, Friedman? When we're watching that with Luigi and we were dying laughing on
Man, I was
Sunday.
never invited to that anyway, so
You wouldn't have even taken the
We-
drive for this garbage.
you don't.
did
You
like
never
at
even
least-
asked.
I said
never
for this
even asked.
garbage. Yes, we
We're-
didn't
we're-
ask.
We did this to save you.
Tyler, Val leaves the room when we watch 100 Girlfriends.
Damn.
But she has to hear us laughing because she leaves the door open. And can hear
She
us.
does. She does. Also, this week, the one from 2 weeks ago was, this was what everyone accuses that show of being the really.
Yeah, thank God. So for some additional context, it was two weeks ago, or I guess 3 weeks at this point. We sit down to watch. Leslie's like, "No, I'm not going to sit here while you guys watch your anime porn." And we're like, "It's not. It's comedy," and she leaves. Or no, was this?
No, it was this past Sunday.
Oh,
It
was this
2 weeks
this
ago
past
episode? Yeah.
So yeah, Leslie leaves. We turn it on, and immediately, this is like by far the horniest episode they've done since like season 1. And we're like, maybe it was a good thing we didn't try to prove Leslie wrong
Oh
with this
God, it
week.
was so funny. But she sat through an episode at the start of the season too. She sat and watched with us.
Wait, which one was it?
I don't remember, but I remember she did.
Was it the eating one?
Maybe. I wish it had been the baseball one, so she could have seen the.
Oh, that was the best one of the
the
season.
Super Saiyan.
What is it with anime and the
Anyway,
baseball
let's
episode
keep,
being the
let's
best
keep
one?
going. Let's keep going.
All right,
I didn't
moving
want to
on.
derail us to a show we're not done with.
Moving on. I finished White Lotus season 1. So my other friend group, they've seen season 1 and 2. They want to watch 3, but they wanted to catch me up. So we watched all of season 1. Do you guys know anything about the show?
Nope.
So
Other than
the
you've
show-
mentioned it.
The show opens with this guy coming back from his honeymoon. He's getting on a plane, and someone's like, "Oh, I heard there was a murder at the hotel you're at." He's like, "Yeah, there was." And then you see them loading the cask on the plane, and then it flashes back to a week ago, where it takes place in this Hawaiian resort. A bunch of these rich families all arrive on the same day, and the series starts with you thinking like, "Oh man, who's gonna get murdered? Who's gonna be the murderer?" The show is not about the murder. The murder happens like, I want to say unceremoniously at the end, but like it's almost disconnected from. It's not disconnected from the plot, but like it's not the focus. Whereas I went in the show thinking the murder is gonna be the focus, and it's more just about interpersonal dramas of rich people and service workers, and it's. I don't want to say it's a whole lot of nothing, but if you're coming in looking for like a deep plot, it's not really there. It's a lot of just if you want to see interesting characters and dialogue and interpersonal relations. It was only 6 episodes long. I know each season has pretty much a brand new cast. I know there's one recurring character from season 1 to 2. Overall, I liked it. I'm not super happy with how they did the ending. I was like anticipating something a lot bigger to happen, especially involving the death, and it just kind of wasn't. So, a little disappointed. I still think the acting was pretty good in it. So I definitely recommend checking it out. It's only 6 episodes. If you don't like it after the first episode, you're probably just not gonna like the whole thing. So easy exit point. But that one was on HBO, I think. Overall decent. That was it for shows and movies. I did want to put on here my final Monster Hunter Wilds review because I think last time we recorded, it was like a couple days after launch, and I was just reporting like people were having performance issues.
Yeah.
But since then, I've beaten the entirety of the story / low rank, and then in terms of the high rank content that's currently available, I think I'm at like the 75% mark of that. So like, I basically have 2 more fights, and then I unlock the hardest fights in the game. And so I can give my feedback so far on this, and I'll say this game is way too fucking easy. I finally died, and it was because I was fucking around and figured out what the giant big flashing red meter is for. It's not to say your health is low, it's to say whatever that monster is about to do, it would kill you if it hits you. And I was like, oh shit, I'm about to get hit. The average hunt is done in under 6 minutes, which is insane, because I remember being in hunts that would fail the 50-minute mark in World.
Yep, I was on some of those with you.
Yeah, like it feels like the stakes are so low, and it kind of annoys me. I've gotten to the point where like some fights I'll just do them solo because a solo version of a fight can take about 15, 16 minutes, which is kind of like what I'm aiming for on these fights, where you fight in multiple places. You go to one, you beat them up, they run away. You go to another one, they start kicking your ass until they run away. I want Wilds to be more like that. Overall, they've already announced Monster Hunter is weird in that it comes up with the base content, and then they pretty much every 6 weeks there's a new drop with new monsters. So at this point in 3 weeks, we're getting a drop with 3 new monsters, which they've already hyped are more difficult than the current most difficult monsters. So I think a lot of Monster Hunter fans are like, oh, you just got to wait for all the updates to come out before you can really review this game. And I'm sitting here like, nah, I spent $70 on it now. What's the game like now? I am going to stick around for the updates. I remember when Monster Hunter Rise came out. When it came to PC, all the like extra updates were already out, and then with Sunbreak, I didn't stick around for the updates because I was bored when it finished. So I very much am happy that I'm playing this game slower than all these speedrunners who beat it in 72 hours, because by the time I'm done with the last monster, I'll be like a week away before the new content update. So
Mm.
I'll be able to at least enjoy that. But overall, I think if you want to get into Monster Hunter, Wilds is by far the most beginner friendly. Very much recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I can't speak for the PC version, but PS5 version, people shit on it. I'm not noticing that many performance problems. Yeah, when it cuts to someone in a cutscene, you'll notice the background flicker as it tries to render the right resolution. But other than that, it's not like an unplayable mess. It's very much a functioning game on PS5. So my final review is go play it. It's a fun Monster Hunter game. Just don't expect it to be difficult if you've played another Monster Hunter game.
It's interesting to hear you say that, Freeman, because one of the podcasts I listen to has a guy on it who has played Monster Hunter for many years. And he had a similar take of this is way too easy. So he actually went back and played like Generations Ultimate or something, the one that got ported to Switch from
it's like it's the
DS.
last one before like the world's made the whole franchise very convenient to play.
He said that he's been having a blast playing that again, that there is some steps back, like there's no in-game way to see what weapon turns into what eventually. But that it is definitely more challenging. He said that it took him the same amount of time as he beat the entire campaign of Wilds to beat the first encounter with a real monster in Generations.
Dang.
And that's just because the hunt, like he was doing hunts, like you said, in like 5 minutes. So yeah, that's
it is kind of annoying. So they put out like they did this in Worlds where they had like event quests where there's like limited time content that eventually it'll just be available all the time. But for the first 6 months it's out, it's limited. And I joined in the span of 15 minutes. I completed 3 hunts. One of them, I got to the monster, I smacked him twice with my hunting horn, and he'd already been damaged after the first 2 minutes of the encounter that he just died.
Damn.
And this was like a tempered version of the first monster in the game. And I was just like, this is like, it's cool that they're spitting out rewards, but like this feels almost unearned. I don't know.
It does sound like a good entry for beginners.
Absolutely. I mean,
I
not
was
gonna lie,
gonna
when I
say
was
the animation for the cooking is
very good. I will say though,
Holy
I spent
flips.
a lot of time just messing around in low rank, just trying out the other weapons, because at this point I think I'm proficient in like 7 of them. So my goal is to just play all the other weapons and don't ignore them like I did in the previous games.
wow.
So I was trying them out in low rank, and every time I joined someone's SOS flag for low rank, like they were carding left and right. So this may just be a case of I've had enough practice across 2 other Monster Hunter games that like I don't really have any kind of learning curve, and the beginners are still struggling. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the pro gamer perspective on this.
Pro gamer.
But either way, I still haven't started hunting the top difficulty one, so I may start getting my ass handed to me pretty soon. But we'll see. Endgame seems very grindy. I think at this point I'm just gonna get the set that looks cool, call it Fashion Hunter, and quit while I'm ahead. And then figure out what my next game is gonna be, and is it just Witcher? Because it's probably just gonna be Witcher.
Please.
Yeah, it'll probably be Witcher. I was talking with Tim about this before the podcast started, but like the Claire Obscura Expedition 33, that game comes out in like 5-ish weeks. So I'm wondering if I should stall time with Witcher and play that when it comes out.
Oh my gosh.
Or I could just wait until reviewers tell me it's a shit game and I shouldn't play it. All right, whatever. I'm done talking games.
To you. Oh, it's me now.
Yeah, it's up to you.
It's up to me. I
2000 years in
played
the future.
video games. I love video games.
Which
so
video
much
games
that
did you
I
love to play?
I love playing Legend of Zelda games. So much I have a tramp stamp. So there you go. Fun fact about me. But I played Echoes of Wisdom, and I needed some palate cleansers after playing so many fucking JRPG.
This is like the one where you play as Zelda and it's like the Link's Awakening remake style, right?
So here's high level concept. Yes, you're right as far as art style goes. But this is literally someone played Scribblenauts and they were like, yo, but like what if
Zelda?
What if Zelda? And someone looked across that same person looked across the table and was like, you son of a bitch, that's a great idea. We should do that. Dude, it is so weird. Like I never thought about like shoehorning a mechanic. Like, have you guys played Scribblenauts? And if not, have you heard of it?
I have.
I've heard of
I've,
it. I
I've
saw
heard of it. I haven't
footage. I
played
never
it.
played it.
Okay, wait for me. You said you played it?
I haven't played it, but I've seen gameplay of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
you've seen gameplay of it. Literally, just take that and it's like you just solve puzzles with Legend of Zelda shit. That's it. That's the game. Um, but it's fun. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't entirely too sure like about it. Like the reason why I did play it is because I didn't buy this. Michelle's maid of honor actually bought it for her for Christmas. And Michelle's like, I'm not interested in playing this. And I'm like, I'll play it. Why not? And I was unsure because I didn't like Link's Awakening remake. I bought it and I thought it was terrible. But this was really good. And it sucks. I haven't found a single person who has played Scribblenauts except for me. But the whole concept of Scribblenauts is basically right. For you listeners, is it's a game where you are presented with a room and you are to solve the puzzle of the room using whatever your imagination can think of, and if the game has a sprite for that or not.
Yeah.
Right? Summoning beds is a big thing in this game and a big thing in Scribblenauts, and I think they just kind of carry that over. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and what's great about it is stuff like this. They've kind of adopted the whole like puzzle philosophy of like you don't have to solve this. Like there are more than 2 or 3 ways maybe to solve this puzzle, and I think it's really neat. I highly recommend it as a Zelda game. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's not your traditional Zelda game by any means. So if you're looking for like the traditional style, it's not that. But if you're looking for something different, it's really cool. Also play Scribblenauts. Uh, so this next game, I played Max Payne 3 over the weekend. Like I blitzed through it. Yes, random ass pick. Uh, was it Steam is having their big like spring sale right now?
Mm-hmm.
So a bunch of shit is on sale, and my one friend, for some reason, decided that he was going to pick up Max Payne 3 and play it. So watching him play it, I was like, I've wanted to play Max Payne 3 for a long time. Every time I like pick up my folder of games, I'm like, I really don't feel like setting up my Xbox 360 to play this. So I bought it for like $5.
Nice.
And man, this game fucking holds up.
Wow.
This game slaps. Um, with an asterisk, the story is still ass, and I remember it being ass. Uh,
Is
it's
it
so
better or
like,
worse than you remember?
oh, it's worse. It's so bad. It's so terrible. It's so like I can't even. God, I don't even know where to begin or end with the story, but man, it feels really good to shoot people. Like bullet time, like they Rockstar. So, and for interestingly enough, right? And I knew this going, and I know there was a lot of interesting controversy when this game came out because it was very expensive to make. Rockstar dumped a lot of money into it, and what's even more interesting, uh, Tim, you probably know this or not, but Remedy did not work on this. They worked on 1 and 2, and they sold the rights, their half of the rights to Rockstar, and that's
Oh,
when.
that's right. That's right. That's right. This is the Rockstar one.
Yep. Yeah, this is the Rockstar one. So yeah, it's an interesting game as far as like how development went on it and stuff, but it was kind of a commercial flop in Rockstar's eyes. Which is interesting because now Remedy is working with Rockstar again to make Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes.
Are they
I'm
working with Rockstar?
I don't They have to be because Rockstar still owns the rights.
They do. Okay.
They
I mean,
do.
it could just
Yeah,
be that Rockstar
Rockstar.
said, "Okay, we this flopped. We don't care. You want to
They
pay us a fee?
might.
Fine. We don't. We're too busy making GTA 6 to make
Yeah,
a
I'll be
trillion
honest.
dollars.
They're too busy making GTA 6.
I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work with that,
What, the
but
remakes?
like yeah, how like the logistics are with like Remedy like remaking them.
I don't think it matters. I think I'm not worried about it. Remedy knows they made the games.
Oh, I'm
several
not
years ago.
worried about Remedy Remedy makes good stuff.
Still gotta play Alan Wake 2.
All their shit is really good, gameplay wise at least.
Man, Control's still one of my favorite playing games
Control's
of all
great.
time.
It's actually really funny because I was watching like a recap on the Max Payne stories, and I don't know how I forgot all this because I played the entire like the trilogy, and
Like when it released.
not when they released. I played Max Payne 1 and 2 when I was in high school, and then
Yeah, 3 was way later.
yeah, 3 came out when we were in college.
Yeah.
But I totally like it went over my head, right? Because you played Control and you played like you're familiar with all like I'm talking about to Tim like all the Norse references.
Oh, so much.
So many. I completely forgot that was in Max Payne 1 and 2.
Oh yeah.
So many Norse references, Norse mythology references.
I mean, that
I was
makes
like,
sense where they're
holy
from.
shit. Yeah, I was like, this makes so much more sense to me now with everything that I've played and cuz like all these like everything about Sam Lake never really came out back then. Like a lot of his like background and everything started coming up like during Alan Wake 1 when that was released. And even more so when Control came out, like people wanted to know more about like Remedy and shit. What else? But yeah, I don't know. It's great. Game is so much fun. But yeah, I recommend playing it. Just don't pay attention to the story. It's bad. Really bad. I finished Invincible. Oh yeah, Tim, I don't know if you saw. But I'm playing a game. Do you know a game I've been playing
I do
without
not know
looking
it.
at Steam?
No.
I'm playing the RoboCop Rogue City game.
Oh, cool.
My friend bought it for me because it was $10.
Nice.
You should play this game.
Should I?
What genre is this game?
You should. It's
If it's on sale, I might grab it.
It's a AA first-person shooter.
I heard about it.
Man, it's got charm.
It's only $10.
It's got
right
charm
now.
for days. It's really buggy though.
The Alex Murphy edition is only $2 more.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Oh,
I'm not even done with it yet, and I recommend it.
Unrelated to this, real quick, Synthetic works again. By the way, I did a full run the other day for the first time in a while.
Oh, you
Wait,
told
it was
me.
broken?
It was
for
broken
months.
for a
I
while.
was having this horrible frame rate problem where it was stuttering. All of a sudden, it's just working. I booted it up again the other day, and it just works now. Anyway, this looks fun.
Yeah, if you want to watch me play it one day, I think you'll get a kick out of it.
It's $11, Tyler. I'll make you pay me back if it sucks.
Everything it's one of those. It's like a Alien, Alien Isolation, or any of these other games that pay super homage to the original source material.
Yeah. All right, I just bought it. It's installing.
Hell yeah. It's so good. Oh yeah, I finished Invincible season 3. I really liked it. Michelle's upset that it's super depresso.
No way, Invincible?
No way. A Robert Kirkman
The show where
original?
everyone knows what the first season ends with?
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. It gets deeper than that. Or something.
We must go deeper.
But it was good. I liked it. I enjoy it.
Were the fights good?
The fights are good. They definitely saved their budget for that last episode.
As they do.
I'm looking forward. As they do. It's good.
Maybe now that you finish that animated show, you can watch Castlevania.
Oh yeah, true. I can watch that, and I can watch that while cooking because it's in English.
It's in English.
If you can hear what they're mumbling without subtitles.
Oh God, is it one of those?
Sometimes.
Look, the audio
Son of a
mixing isn't
bitch.
perfect, but
It's nowhere near as bad as it was in the original season 1.
Yeah,
mm,
that's fine. That's fine. I will watch it. I also do need to get through Battlestar Galactica. I am on
Oh
the
my
last
God,
season.
Wait, you're at the last season?
I'm in the last season.
Oh, please
Oh,
finish
man.
that, Tyler. I want to hear your thoughts about it.
Dude, this fucking show is on some shit, dog. Already, like, and I'm not even.
Yeah, you're
And
into it.
apparently, I'm not even there still. I'm still
Yeah,
not
but
even.
Tyler, you're in it. I wouldn't agree. I would disagree. You're on the road to El Dorado,
Meridian
baby.
City.
Like you're
Oh yeah,
and
Meridian City, El Dorado. Like,
yeah, you've seen how many? Do you know who all the Cylons are?
except for one.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're in the parts where it's like,
God damn it.
what are we trying
I will
to do
say,
here?
so far, it's good. I'll say that. Like, I think it's good compared to the second half of season 4, where I'm like, this is stupid. Like, what are they even doing?
Yeah, but Tyler, it's
Like,
not like that's not saying much.
it's not. But, like, at the beginning of season 4, it was pretty good. Like, everything up to a certain ship going away forever, like,
You mean what we
it
talked
was
about
good.
last time?
Did we say it on air?
The
Did we say
saddest
it?
thing ever.
It was the saddest thing ever.
Dude, it's
It was
heartbreaking.
good, though.
Heartbreaking.
That whole scene with, like, those first 2 episodes were fantastic.
That's so fuck.
So good.
Dude,
But
few shows have conveyed desperation like that.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
she's here. She's here. Oh my god, it's crazy. And she's dead.
And she's dead. And she's gone. But yeah, I'll talk about that more when I've watched it. I talked about Anora already. I saw Anora in theater because I was like, I've been desperate for movies to go see. Michelle and I watched Damsel because we were bored and we wanted something to watch. Man, that was a mediocre ass movie.
Oof.
They tried doing something interesting. I do think In There was actually a good movie. For those of you who don't know, it's like, I don't know, it's got
Millie Bobby
Millie,
Brown.
yeah, Millie Bobby Brown. She's sacrificed to a dragon, and she attempts to escape the dragon's cave. It's cool. I think it's a neat concept. If the premise wasn't done 100 fucking times over.
Wait, was this one? This one wasn't Netflix exclusive, was it?
This was a Netflix exclusive.
Oh, okay, all right. This is the one I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the one and then they went and made the new what is it? Heat something Steel or Real Steel or whatever not Real Steel, what's the new one that just came out recently that's got it's the most expensive thing ever from the Russo brothers.
I don't know.
Oh god, it's been everywhere.
Well, now I need to
Going.
look it up. Yeah, that's fine. You
The
look it
Electric
up and I'll
State,
talk.
The Electric State.
Oh
It has,
yeah,
like,
I heard it was
every,
terrible too.
Yeah, it has Millie Bobby Brown again, and it has like every Chris Pratt, like the Russo brothers directed, Stanley Tucci,
Jesus
Giancarlo
Christ.
Esposito, like that's Woody Harrelson. Like there's so much stuff in here. But anyway, keep going.
And then to finish off strong, because we talked about Ralph Fiennes earlier, the best movie I saw of recently, The Menu.
I've wanted to watch this one.
It was good. It was good. Ralph Fiennes is great. What I also really enjoy is the fuck is her name? With the big eyes. She plays Paul's sister. Boiler.
Oh,
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Queen's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Paul's
Queen's
sister. I was
Gambit.
like, what?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah.
This has to be like the most emotion I have ever seen out of any of the roles I've seen her do. Granted, I haven't seen Queen's Gambit. Michelle says I should watch Queen's Gambit because I would like this normie shit. But like, she did a really good job in this movie. That's all I really gotta say without spoiling anything. I went into this movie not knowing anything, about what it was or what the goal was. And what I think is really good about this is when you learn very early on what kind of movie this is, but you come for that, right? And you're like, oh, this is some weird shit. But you stay for what happens next.
Like after it gets weird.
After it gets weird, after you you know where this is going, right? It's one of those like you see the ending coming a mile away,
Mm-hmm.
but you start getting invested in the so-called journey.
So-called journey.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like without spoiling anything, like you'd have to watch it to understand. It is really one of those like I forget like what movie like I can equate this to. Like
If I
it's
remember correctly,
literally
the thing is like you don't know what the movie's about, and then suddenly something shocking happens that says this is what the movie's now about, and then from how it plays out from that point on, it's good. But you can't tell people what that twist is because it ruins the movie.
it does. But even if I told you the twist, right, which isn't really much of a twist, like they covered in like the first 20 minutes of the movie, you're like, okay, well, what is going to happen next? Like it has something to kind of do with what you're saying, but like even if I were to tell you what the twist was, you'd be like, well, I gotta see what happens next. Like I know this is a train wreck,
Yeah, like
and
it's
I
like it's not
know,
it's not carried purely by having a twist. There's more to it than that.
yeah, it is the flavor of the twist. It is what is going to happen that makes you intrigued. It's literally one of those like, oh god, this is gross. I want to see more of this. You're telling me there's at least like 3 more of these things that are gonna happen? Well, I gotta see what the rest of them are. So yeah, it's good. I highly recommend it. It's got some good themes to it too. Like it's you know it sheds light on like service industry stuff and uh people who consider themselves artists and how they view themselves compared to how consumers view them. It's a whole thing, so you could take it for that as well as take it for like the entertainment value, and I think both are very good. It's kind of cheesy that like if there were some not cheesy parts I probably would um like there are some ham out of 10 characters in this movie. Um, and if it was a little bit more like if it picked a lane and really stayed in it, I probably would have given it even almost a 4.5. But I still think it's good. I still think it's worth the watch.
All right.
Yeah, Freeman, I think you would like it.
I just put it on my letterbox list.
Hell yeah.
I think I already had it on my list. I've wanted to watch The Menu. That's one of the ones where if it was on the plane, I think I would have probably wanted to grab it, especially after Conclave, since another Ralph.
But after Conclave, yeah. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I after watching this movie, I was like, maybe I should watch Conclave. Ralph Fiennes so good.
Everything seems to be spicier with Menu than Conclave.
Unintended.
Yes.
Yes. It probably is.
Like the Menu seems more weird and going for something, whereas Conclave is just kind of like, let's tell a story about a thing that a lot of people think is weird.
All right, but yeah, that's
Holy
all I
smokes, did we
got.
get through everything? It only took exactly an hour to get through all of our watched and played and 45 minutes for everything else.
There we go. See, we're getting more efficient.
We're getting there.
As efficient as my my ceremony. That was great.
That was so funny. Oh my god.
I love that.
Speaking of efficiency, though, it's 10 o'clock. We should, if we stop now, we might have time to play a game together, hang out more than just immediately getting offline. So we're gonna stop. But until next time, we have almost hit 200. Thank you all so much for listening. We all appreciate it. But until next time, my name is Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
Only just Mr. Tyler.
We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.